in local communities. Meanwhile, the one-day citizen engagement brought together civil society actors, media representatives, and local officials. President Joseph Boakai has reappointed Dr. Jesse Noah Magru as president of Nimba County University, reaffirming his administration commitment to continuity and excellence in higher education. According to an executive mansion release, Dr. Jesse's reappointment follows a unanimous recommendation by the university's Board of Trustees, chaired by Councillor Boyka Julius Piga. The board praised Dr. Jesse exceptional leadership, highlighting his contribution to the institution's academic and infrastructure advancement. Since taking office, it is reported that Dr. Jesse has implemented a series of transformative initiatives aimed at improving academic standards, expanding campus facilities, and fostering stronger community engagement. His efforts, according to the release, have been widely credited with elevating the profile of Nimba County University both locally and internationally. President Boyka, through the release, lauded his vision and dedication, expressing confidence in his ability to further strengthen the university's role as a hub of innovation and learning in the region. The Liberian leader government continued to prioritize investment in education as a cornerstone of national development with focus on empowering institutions to deliver quality learning outcomes across the country. The Liberian Senate has confirmed Associate Justice Yamin Wese as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Justice Yamin Wese will replace Chief Justice Siane Yor, who reached the constitutional retirement age of 70 on June 26 of this year. The new Chief Justice, who hailed from Liberia's second most populated county, the Nimba County nomination, was criticized by a number of Liberians over what they termed as his controversial role in the House's recent leadership crisis. Former President George Weah on Thursday traveled to Abuja, Nigeria to pay tribute to the late Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away earlier this month after a brief illness. Weah's visit to Nigeria to sound the vote of condolence at the State House, joining other African leaders and dignitaries in to honor the legacy of the former Nigerian leader. Speaking briefly to the press after signing the condolence book, we have described President Buhari as a steadfast statement and a pillar of African leadership. The former Liberian leader noted that the late Nigerian president dedicated his life to the service of Nigeria and the African continent, adding that his commitment to democracy, peace, and regional cooperation lives beyond a powerful legacy that will continue to inspire leaders across Africa. Weah and Buhari maintained a cordial relationship during their overlapping terms in office, particularly through regional bodies such as ECOWAS, where both leaders worked to strengthen political stability and economic collaboration in West Africa. President Buhari, who served as Nigeria's elected leader from 2015 to 2023, was widely recognized for his military background, anti-corruption effort, and regional diplomacy. A passing has since sparked tributes from across the continent and beyond. A Broom County-based organization, the Darwin Development Association, has called for unity among the people in the Darwin district in order to bring development in the area. An executive member of the organization, Richard Hilton, claimed that nobody can take development to the district unless the people themselves. Hilton made the statement when he announced that Darwin Development Association will be having a homecoming day on July 26, Independence Day, in Clay, Bombing County. According to him, the program will bring together people of Darwin District residing in Bombing County and other parts of Liberia. And the majority bloc of the National Executive Committee of the National Teachers Association of Liberia says the refusal of Miriam leadership to abide by the ruling of the Civil Service Law. The Civil Law Code is creating a dangerous precedent. Recently, the Civil Law Code ruled that Miriam leadership of the NTAL to submit themselves to an audit of her tenure over the last 5 years. Speaking when they appeared on LBS Bumper Show, the majority bloc of the National Executive Committee of NTAL observed that Mary Block is a springbok for lawlessness in the organization. According to Dan, Mary Yeoman is shielded by some big hands who are benefiting from the dues that are being paid by poor teachers. The news bulletin is back to you, Newton.
Stephen, content with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature here on King's News Broom. What if you just join us a reminder? You're listening to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the subject. Today is Friday, July 18, 2025, and I'm Newton, Dr. presenting. Stories following this evening. This relative, son of Nimba County Representative Musa Ability, sentenced to 4 years in prison for drug-related crimes and illegal possession of firearms. President Joseph Baka expressed his concern over Liberia's continued reliance on foreign aid as an independent nation, says it undermines the nation's dignity and status as an independent state. University of Liberia campus-based Student Unification Party calls for immediate dismissal of Lester Tinney as Vice President for Fiscal Affairs of the university, accused him of carrying out massive corruption. The way for Liberian war crime suspect arrested in Germany under ICC warrant. We'll take another break and we'll come back. We'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. On our first development this evening, President Joseph Baka has expressed concern over Liberia's continued reliance on foreign aid as an independent nation. Speaking at a Thanksgiving intercessory prayer service at the United Foundation Mosque in Singapore as part of the country's 178th Independence Day celebration, President Baka expressed his frustration over Liberia's failed economic improvement and underdevelopment owing to its long-standing sovereignty. According to him, such dependence undermines the nation's dignity and status as an independent state.
Sometimes ago, we had at a time a gentleman who was representing the youth, and this summer, we said, no, we have one person representing the different youth organizations to people youth council, so that the voices of the young people offer them. I don't think they said Muslim youth were not be involved. I don't know how they are representing I don't talk to them. The Muslim are part of Nigeria. And they are going to prepare to them. Instead of one person representing them. We want to hear from everybody, from the region, from everywhere, because it takes all of us to build this country. And that's what we want. So today, it is a beautiful day and grateful time. And I join you in this secret gathering of the prayer. Unity, national and unity. As we begin the celebration of the Darwin 178th birthday. And by the way, I'm so pleased to be doing this at what we call the Foundation, Unity Foundation. And everything that I think about our dear consumption, a beautiful emphasis for Washington. I want to thank you, and thank you, who always give God the best. It is not a day of religious reception. It is a moment for all Nigerians, regardless of the faith or background, to stand together as one people on one side with one shared destiny.
Liberian President Joseph Baka. The University of Liberia campus-based Student Unification Party has launched a campaign calling for the immediate dismissal of Lester Tinney as Vice President for Fiscal Affairs of the university. The decision by the campus-based movement is triggered by Tinney's alleged link to the misuse of the university's funds following his appointment as Vice President of Fiscal Affairs. Addressing a team of newsmen during the protest held Friday at the University of Liberia's main campus, SUP chairman for propaganda, Pauline Emmanuel Yan, accused Lester Tinney of manipulating the university budget for personal aggrandizement.
Mata appointed a Lester Tinney of all persons inexplicably as Vice President of Fiscal Affairs. In less than 1 month, Lester Tinney has won 1.2 million from the university account. And the traders want this information, they get them. We will circulate on the social media so the public can see. The power of Lester Tinney has withdrawn 1.2 million from the university account. The press was inexplicable. When you voted on my power went to Water Star and donated 10,000, my parents just left Mr. Bennett. So that because when she want money, Ghana can get money. So she bought Lester Tinney, the anytime she want money, Lester Tinney will get money. Lester Tinney has increased the salary for 3,000 to 7,000. Up down that his rank have been increased or he have been promoted. And the information in our possession, they come the schedule to Echo Bank. Lester Tinney was appointed July. Lester Tinney is saying the salary increment was set in middle effect on June 1st, 2023 up to present July, now today is July 18, 2025. This is a budget devil and market to the people of this country and the university. The prayer cannot be fighting systematic financial fraud and they see that supporting Lester Tinney to pass down the university budget. Today, the university budget on Lester Tinney is in taxes. Decadent. The university on the prayer, there's no improvement coming. No improvement. Today, she's passing on the Facebook and the government of the party want to move her because she's into keeping, financial credibility. My prayer is a West product from the monopoly capital in the West, getting to have a Mr. Pressure.
He's SUP chairman for propaganda, Pauline Emmanuel Yan, speaking. The executive director of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Anasi Miamen, emphasized the importance of citizen engagement and institutional collaboration in the fight against corruption in Liberia. In an interview on Friday at the day-long AntiCorruption Forum held in Calcutta, Miami highlighted the issue of fixed political government projects, stressing the need for transparency and accountability in public service delivery. According to him, the forum was designed to empower citizen journalists and community-based organizations to actively participate in the fight against corruption. He added that the initiative is also aimed to decentralize anti-corruption efforts, bringing the process closer to communities in Liberia.
The reasons why we're here are the project that is facilitating this engagement, strengthening political governance and accountability in Liberia project. It is a 3-year program that we're starting in 2024, September to be particular. We are moving towards the end of the first year of the program. 2 more years to go with a few months. And basically, with this program, we want to work with citizens to empower you, journalists, community-based organizations, ordinary citizens, and the different stakeholders in health, education, those who are working around decentralization, around or leading our efforts around dealing with corruption. Even the GSC or other institutions, we're working with everybody to ensure that we end the culture of impunity for corruption, to also help to improve processes around decentralization. We've been struggling with this whole decentralization thing. We passed the law in 2018. We've made some efforts, but we need to do far more to give powers to people at the local level such that they make decisions on matters or issues that border on their welfare or their well-being. We also have some aspect of the project that is focusing on climate governance or environmental management. The Center for Democratic Governance is leading on that aspect of the project. There are some work that we're doing around the revenue sharing law, for example. NAMO is leading on that. And we are leading more on the anti-corruption aspect. But you can't talk about corruption without also talking about decentralization and some of the other things that border on culture of accountability, transparency, and integrity in society.
He's the executive director of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Anderson Miamen. Former President George Weah on Thursday traveled to Abuja to pay tribute to the late Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away earlier this month after a brief illness. Weah visited the Nigerian capital to sign the official book of condolence at the State House, joining other African leaders and dignitaries in honoring the legacy of the former Nigerian leader. Speaking briefly to the press after signing the book of condolence, Weah described President Buhari as a steadfast statesman and a pillar of African leadership. The former Liberian leader noted that the late President Buhari dedicated his life to the service of Nigeria and the African continent, adding that his commitment to democracy, peace, and regional cooperation leaves behind a powerful legacy that will continue to inspire leaders across Africa. Weah and Buhari maintain cordial relations during their overlapping terms in office, particularly through regional bodies such as ECOWAS, where both leaders worked to strengthen political stability and economic collaboration in West Africa. President Buhari, who served as Nigeria's elected leader from 2015 to 2023, was widely recognized for his military background, anti-corruption efforts, and regional diplomacy. His passing has sparked tributes from across the continent and beyond. Weah's presence in Abuja underscores strong historical and diplomatic ties between Liberia and Nigeria, two of West Africa's most influential nations. The majority bloc of the National Teachers Association Executive Committee says the refusal of Mary Newman leadership to abide by the ruling of the Civil Law Code is creating a dangerous precedent. Recently, the Civil Law Code ruled that Mary Newman leadership of the NTAL submit themselves to an audit for her tenure over the last 5 years. Speaking when they appeared on LBS Bumper Show, the majority bloc of the National Executive Committee of the NTAL observed that Mary Newman is the springboard of lawlessness in the organization.
Isaiah Kamara II. My name is Mamba Masakwe. Really, we aren't satisfied the way the fund manner in which the NTA is running. We do not benefit anything at the local level. We are not benefiting anything. One, we need to run our districts. We need to run our county. But if you don't see money coming, how do you run? You will not pay money for other people to use. They should be able to tell you how they are using the money.
My name is Kefola Swankoli. Reason number one is to inform the public about the general precedent at the NTL where the current president and her leadership are not willing to respect the court order. My name is Maiman D. Kamara. The ruling says that when the National Executive Committee filed in this, National Executive Committee is clothed with the responsibility to see to it that they will be able to manage the funds that are remitted from our salaries are properly managed. So they are clothed with the responsibility to make sure that when they see it to it that there is misappropriation, they have the right to call for an audit. It was from this background they decided to call for an audit at the National Teachers Association. The audit was not conducted, and this is what led to the court action. So I would just like to read what the court or the judge said that should be done. The only prayer of the petitioners being the requirement that the respondents' accounts for the funds and for money withdrawn from the NTL accounts. This court says certainly if there are alleged misappropriation of the funds of the accounts, is the constitutional authority of the NEC to call for said audit of the account. In the mind of this court, once a decision had been taken by the National Executive Committee NEC on the audit of the association's account, the auditing firm named by the said NEC, the officers responsible for the day-to-day affairs of the association, has the duty to comply with the decision of the NEC. It further says that, wherefore, and in view of the foregoing, this court hereby declares that as per the Constitution of the National Teachers Association, the National Executive Committee is clothed with the power to mandate an audit of the accounts of the association.
Some members of the majority bloc of the National Executive Committee of the National Teachers Association. What if you just joining us on the mountain listening to this news program, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberian and Step us from following this evening. Peace Bulletin, son of Limba County Representative Musa Bulletin, sentenced to 4 years in prison for drug-related crimes and illegal possession of firearms. President Joseph Baka expresses concern over Nigeria's continued reliance on foreign aid as an independent nation, says it organized the nation's community established as an independent state. The University of Nigeria Campus-based Student Unification Party calls for immediate dismissal of Lester Tilley as Vice President for Fiscal Affairs of the university, accused him of carrying out massive corruption. Away from Nigeria Media War Grants, suspended resident General on the ICC's warrant. Take another break on continue. Thanks for rejoining us and welcome back. A Broom County-based organization, the Darwin Development Association, has called for unity among people in the Darwin district in order to bring development into the area. An executive member of the organization, Richard Hilton, claimed that nobody can take development to Darwin district unless the people themselves. Hilton made a statement when he announced the Darwin Development Association will be having a homecoming day on July 26, Independence Day in Clay, Broom County.
The reason why we are fighting in our life to see the when people united is because we have a stake in the existence of this country. That's one of the key reasons. Because we are right as citizens in this country. And we can't get that right when everybody taking their own responsibility. We can't get it. In fact, because of that, we zero. We nobody again. So the people can check us like the way you can check point. But I want to tell you, the organization that we're going to organize is not a religious organization. It's not a religious organization. And not church, and not mosque. The organization to represent the people. And nobody should take politics out of it. There is no way we can represent ourselves. A politician who doesn't identify with us, represent us. It cannot I challenge anybody. Just look around. Look around. So the thing what we're talking here, the key point there is how we unite ourselves. All the other things we follow. It's so I die for me today. We're not united. My father told about it. Sometimes when we're talking about the strength of unity. It covers everything. How do we do it? How do we do it? It's the greatest question that we all need to answer. And do we blame each other? No. The guy that gets him up, let's speak to some people.
He's an executive member of the organization, the Darwin Development Association. Richard Hilton speaking. The Liberian National Police has released its post-protest message on July 17 mass protest held in Monrovia, indicating acts of disorderly conduct by protesters. The message, read by LMP Deputy Director General for Operations, Councillor Nelson Freeman, indicate an ongoing investigation of video footages that will enable the police to apprehend protesters who were involved in violent acts.
Today's protest came with serious challenges, desperate threats, and confrontational behavior leading to the event. The Liberian National Police remain professional and prepared to safeguard the public peace. Unfortunately, some individuals went beyond peaceful protest when Senator Momon Cyrus arrived to receive the protesters' petition after refusing to give said petition to members of the representatives or member of the lower house. Violence erupted. Stones were thrown, and Officer Emmanuel F. Yuma of the LMP and a staff member from the legislature sustained head injuries. Officer Yuma is currently receiving treatment at the JFK Medical Center. Earlier in the day, another troubling event occurred near the CDC headquarters, where motorists were attacked, 2 vehicles were damaged, and several individuals were injured, including a woman who was rushed to the JFK hospital. Let me be clear. These acts of violence are unacceptable. The LMP is actively reviewing video footage and other evidence to identify those responsible and ensure they're brought to justice. We respect your right to protest, but it must be done responsibly. Let us reject violence and uphold the laws that protect our democracy. We extend deep appreciation to the media, members of the general public, for their cooperation, and the media especially for their responsible coverage. And we commend our joint security partners for their tireless efforts in maintaining public safety. Let us move forward with discipline, respect, and unity. Thank you.
He's Deputy Director General for Operations at the Liberian National Police, Nelson Freeman speaking. And away from Liberia, a Libyan man suspected of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity has been arrested in Germany on warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. Khalid Mohammed is alleged to have been one of the most senior officials at the Metigat prison complex in the capital, Tripoli, where thousands of people were detained. He is suspected of having committed, ordered, or overseen crimes including murder, torture, and rape. The atrocities were allegedly committed in the detention unit near Tripoli in the 5 years from 2015. There's no record of him commenting on the allegations. Meanwhile, the ICC has issued 11 arrest warrants in connection with alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Libya since the ousting and killing of the country's longtime leader, Muammar Gaddafi, which plunged Libya into civil war. The situation was referred to the court by the United Nations Security Council in February 2011 at the start of the protests which led to Gaddafi's ousting later that year with the help of the NATO forces. In its referral, the Security Council condemned the violence and use of force against civilians and gross and systematic violation of human rights, including the repression of peaceful demonstrations. It is also to express deep concern that the deaths of civilians, while rejecting the incitement of hostility and violence against the civilian population made from the highest level of the Libyan government, then under Gaddafi. On that note, this is how I would like to go home this evening on King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this evening, let's remind you of the news event following. Peace Village, son of Nimba County Representative Musa Beniti, sentenced to 4 years in prison for drug-related crimes and illegal possession of firearms. President Joseph Baka expresses concern over Liberia's continued reliance on foreign aid as an independent nation, says it undermines the nation's dignity and status as an independent state. University of Liberia campus based to the Unification Party calls for immediate dismissal of Lester Tini as Vice President of Fiscal Affairs of the university, accused him of carrying out massive corruption. And away from Liberia, Libyan war crimes suspect arrested in Germany on ICC warrant. Stephen Conton was here with the news bulletin, while Sam Andrews sat at controls and coordinated the sounds. On behalf of the entire management team, I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Our sources, Case Newsroom takes a break to be back Monday with another fresh edition of the program. My name is Newton Tuba. Have a set of pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.